All right. I think you boys see the screen with your names on it on the wheel. Top billing time. Inspired by Wonder Woman 1984, what we just talked about, and unfortunately, how disappointing and, to be frank, bad it was. Our top billing today is worst superhero movies. We have a snake draft, and it's a little different though because we will have categories that each of us must fulfill. You must select a movie under each of these 5 categories. One DCEU movie, so there's 10 options there. One MCU movie, so there's 23 options. A superhero movie before 2008, so before the new superhero era. A movie over 60% on Rotten Tomatoes, and then miscellaneous, just your personal that you haven't picked. That something that could be anything really. So there might be a little overlap here, but no one can repeat picks. Okay, because you might have a movie over 60% on Rotten Tomatoes that you pick in the DCEU category, for an example, but you also have to pick over 60% on Rotten Tomatoes, just as an example there. So
Okay, so can we just reiterate that one more time just to make it very clear? So we're doing a top billing, top 5 of worst superhero movies. One has to be from the DCEU. One has to have a Rotten Tomato score of over 60. One has to be before 2008, and one has to be MCU. And then we have one more slot that's completely open.
yes.
All right, let's do it. Let's get the percentages here, or the. Let's see. Give me that first overall. This
All
is
right. For the first pick, it will be Doctor O.
Oh, finally.
Let's
Doctor
Finally got one.
O.
He was
go. Let's
complaining last
go.
week about
Complaining
it.
last week.
I know, deservedly so.
Yeah. And the second pick will go to. Oh, it landed on Doctor O again. Give me
Apparently,
one more
Dr. O
second
again.
here. Here we go. Oh my God. It's
What
addicted to
is
Dr.
going
O
on?
today.
Yeah, 3 Dr. O picks in a row.
Spin don't lie. Spin don't lie.
All right. The second pick goes to me. Nez gets the third
Oh,
pick.
no.
Unfortunate. Okay. Dr. O, lead us off. You can start anywhere, and we don't have to follow suit. Just start us off.
Okay. I'm looking at my list right now. I'm going to go. My first overall pick is going to be pre 2008. First overall pick going pre 2008. I'm going with Batman and Robin. Worst superhero of all time. Batman and Robin. So I thought this one is a very strategic draft. Ricky Flicks made all the categories. You got the first overall pick. You got to pick the best available. In this case, the worst available. Therefore, I am taking the worst, hands down, no matter what category. Batman and Robin. Right? We're talking Batman credit cards. We're talking bat nipples. Okay, we're talking cheesy lines from Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze. Okay, we're talking George Clooney being the worst on-screen Batman that this world has ever seen. And that includes
True.
right? That includes Adam West. No offense, Adam West. I know you were campy, but you weren't good, right? So
Agreed.
I thought that was a hands down easy pick. Batman and Robin, number one.
Good pick. That's a definitely up there for worst superhero movie of all time. I think it's a good pick. I think I don't know if it would have gotten back to you, so I think that's a solid, really good pick.
Thanks, Flicks.
But I'm up next. Looking at the MCU, not a lot of terrible movies, but there's one I'm looking at that I think it's terrible, and that's Thor: The Dark World. I think that's a god awful movie. I think that villain is arguably one of the worst villains in superhero history. I can't even remember the name of it. Terrible. Weird storyline too with the side characters, Natalie Portman's friend and that random intern. Just weird movie in itself. Thor: The Dark World is my MCU pick, to be clarified,
Great
because it
pick.
somehow is over 60% Rotten Tomatoes. That's right as of right now my MCU pick.
MC.
Wait. Oh, that's
Wait,
your
we're doing.
MCU pick, but
Yes.
not
Do we
yours
have we have
over
to say it at the
60%.
time? You have to
No,
say it at the
we could
time.
change it around. Like if like you say like if I like pick another MCU one, but it's not over sixty
So you can
percent.
change positions. Like
Yes.
LeBron's point guard.
Yeah. I think that'll be interesting for strategy
Okay.
perspectives. We'll see how it goes. We'll see if it even happens.
It's a shallow category, so I think it's a good spot to go with number two. If I had number two, I think that was the pick,
Hmm.
right? And
Yeah.
MCU, it's like it's hard to pick one that really sucked,
Right.
but you picked the one that really sucked.
Yeah, you did. Congratulations. For me, in my second round pick, I think I'm just gonna go with the original Thor because I'm gonna run out of MCU movies because I don't like that movie either. I think the first two Thors are so boring. The dialogue's boring. It's not fun. Um, Taika Waititi saved the franchise with Ragnarok and really changed Thor's direction. But the first two Thors are just very boring. Like I'll never rewatch them ever again. I
Wow.
can't get through them. I can't get through them.
Wow.
I can't.
Hmm.
It's just not. They're just not fun movies to me. They're just not. I don't enjoy them. They don't give me the kick that any of the other MCU movies did. So I'm sorry if I stole anybody else's, but that's my second round pick. And I guess
Interesting.
I'll move to my
Interesting.
yeah. Well, you like that movie?
I to say it's second worst MCU if we're like putting in perspective, I'm
Am I
shocked.
missing something?
I don't know. I do MCU.
I don't
they're
hate the
all.
pick. I had it on my board. I did not. I'm not a Thor fan.
Yeah, I don't like that.
It's
I don't
not.
like-
It's
I don't
not
like
definitely
original Thors.
lower tier MCU. I agree with.
It's a corny movie, and it's just Chris
Mhm.
Hemsworth is pretty brutal in it.
Yeah, I think if
Yes,
I'm ranking
agreed.
my MCU movies, the last would be Thor: Dark World, and then the second and last
Thor.
would be Thor. So
It's kind
so
of.
that's it.
I guess what kind of gets me is that like it's similar to Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. Chris Hemsworth, even in that movie, kind of he looked the part, and the action scenes I thought were really good for the most part. Like when they were on Odenheim. I thought that was a
Mhm.
sick scene,
Odenheim.
and he was phenomenal in that scene, in that action
Mm.
sequence. That's why I think that just gets me. Similar to Wonder Woman, Gal Gadot, Chris Hemsworth is Thor, and he even established that after not so great first
Yeah.
movie. But
Yeah.
all right, I understand the pick.
Yeah.
But back to
Moving
you.
on to my next pick, I will be going to my pick that is above 60% on Rotten Tomatoes, and it is just above 60% on Rotten Tomatoes because it is at 63%. And we are talking about Spider-Man 3, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow.
That movie sucks. Tobey Maguire dancing in the jazz bar like a complete idiot, cheating on Mary Jane, being a weirdo. I don't get this movie. I don't understand. I go back. You know what? This movie, this is one of the most memeable movies of all time. I follow an account on Instagram. I think it's called Lil Father Figure or something. He does a lot of really
Oh,
obscure,
yeah.
weird memes, and he is constantly memeing the Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man, and especially him dancing through that little jazz club, being
Fantastic.
Brutal.
incredibly weird. I felt so bad for Tobey Maguire because he did not want to do that.
Money.
Soundbite right there of "Get away from the door! I can't see."
There are cars there.
Mother.
So
All-time
that
clip.
is my pick for the above 60% on Rotten Tomatoes worst superhero movie.
I like it.
Good
I
pick.
hate Topher Grace in that movie. The only thing I do like about it, I like Spider-Man. I like his look in the black. I think that looks kind of sick.
Yes, he does look sick in that suit.
Like him, like that. I think there's like that gif of him like gripping a fist with him in the black,
Mhm.
and he's like hanging off the wall. And it's also a sick poster, the movie poster, where it's like you have like the regular Spider-Man and Black Spider-Man like back to back. Cool poster. Brutal movie though. And when Kirsten Dunst started making out with James Franco in the middle of that movie, I was like, what's going on? What are we doing?
James
I've never
Franco,
been
tough one for him there. He didn't do well there. And Topher Grace, I think, is really good, like as an actor. Like seeing Black Klansman, I thought he was phenomenal in that. But that movie, it was terrible. But good pick, Nez. Good pick. All right, it comes back to me. This is my number one in the DCEU for worst movie, Suicide Squad 2016.
Yeah.
This movie was all over the place. Before the movie, you see Viola Davis, Will Smith, Margot Robbie. You're thinking, oh my God, this is going to be amazing. I had such high hopes. I remember Dr. O, me, and a couple other of our buddies, we bought tickets beforehand. It was right at the beginning of the reserving seat era of the movie theaters, and we can only get first row because it was such highly anticipated. And everyone,
oh my God.
It was insane. And
Mhm.
the all-time terrible villain, and again, all over the place, just terrible writing, and I don't know. It's much more to say. Just terrible movie, Suicide Squad.
That's god awful. Like I like the soundtrack actually good, and like the way they portrayed the Joker just made me hate that movie so much.
Didn't even
And
mention
the
it.
fact that he was barely in it And that the hype to that movie, remember that first trailer with Bohemian Rhapsody playing? That's arguably top 10, top 5 best trailers I've ever seen. In my life.
Disrespect to
Most
that song.
excited I've been for a movie. And then seeing that abomination in theater, I was pretty pissed off.
Mm.
Pretty pissed.
All right.
That was one of the great that was a great trailer that really hyped that movie up, and it was so underwhelming when I saw it. I was so disappointed.
Another top billing. Great trailers that amount to nothing. Like movies suck.
You could put Ready Player One in there.
Ooh.
It didn't amount to nothing, but
Right.
I remember seeing that trailer being like, this is going to be the best movie of
Spielberg. Oh.
And then it wasn't as good as I expected, but it was still good.
Yeah. All right. Dr. O, 2 picks here for you.
Okay. I think I'm gonna take my MCU movie because I'm afraid someone's gonna take it in their over 60%. I think Nez still has to go over 60%.
No, I
No,
did MCU
I do.
and 60%.
I go over 60.
Even more. I gotta take this. I'm gonna take MCU. Tough pick here. Not a lot of bad ones. I'm gonna go Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel.
Wow.
I'm not a Captain Marvel fan.
Was not going to go with that one, but
I
good
think
pick.
that is a forced agenda on us, and then I feel like it had a certified fresh rating even before it hit theaters. Like people were just waiting to praise this movie. It had Brie Larson in it. I don't like Brie Larson in it. I don't like how they treated Samuel L. Jackson in this movie. I didn't find what's her name, Annette Bening. I didn't like her villain. I just didn't like it. I especially didn't like the forced agenda aspect. So I'm going Captain Marvel as my MCU movie.
Oh, that's a fantastic pick. Fantastic pick. My second on my big board for Rotten Tomatoes over 60%. That movie with Brie Larson, Oscar-winning actress, I thought could have done so much more, especially as like an insanely powerful Avenger. I think that's a fantastic pick.
Thank you, Ricky Flex. Going on here.
Yep, back to
See
you.
how powerful Brie Larson
So
is.
I have
Scott Pilgrim vs. the World.
I got a pre-2008, which is true. I got a pre-2008. I have an MCU. So I'm looking at miscellaneous here. Sorry, I just got a long list here.
Long list, boy, everyone. Big board.
I mean, I'm going to take Catwoman for miscellaneous.
Oh, my God.
Catwoman with Halle Berry. That movie, I watched it when I was younger. I actually, it was on TV. I think it was on AMC. And I tried to turn it on again. It was the basketball scene, and it made me want to throw up. I wanted to throw up.
You see that clip out in the midst on Twitter sometimes.
And like in this age of like feminism and stuff, like I don't even know if people would be okay with that, with what she was wearing there for that costume. Like that was bold. I feel like I was watching a porno. Like it was like
Halle Berry is certified fresh in my eyes. So.
Yeah, she certainly is. But I think Catwoman. I think. That could have been in the running for number 1. That movie's so bad. I'm going to my miscellaneous pick. I'm going Catwoman.
No,
good miscellaneous pick. Yeah, that's
really
good movie. By the way, if anybody picks Daredevil as their worst comic book or superhero movie, I am quitting the podcast and not associating with either of you.
Okay, let me say something. I think that movie is underrated. I think Ben Affleck's pretty good.
Ricky Flex, you said that. Ricky Flex said that last episode, I think, didn't you?
I don't think so, but we said it before.
I think I said it like pre-epi.
I'm certainly not going to say it's good.
I think it's
I'm
watchable,
not going to say it's the worst, though.
It's watchable.
Yeah,
Him and Jennifer Garner,
talk about another bad scene when he does like the dance fight, not dance fight, but like when they're in the playground fighting. That's an embarrassing scene.
Yeah, that's the basketball scene.
That is embarrassingly bad.
Yeah. I won't call it a good movie, but it's. But I turn it on for a fight scene.
I like Affleck in it.
Colin Farrell.
Affleck.
But all right, it goes back to me for my third pick. Now I'm gonna do Rotten Tomatoes over 60%. Worst movie. I don't know if I want to say that. Maybe the worst movie I've seen this year, and that's Birds of Prey. I hated this movie.
That is a good pick.
It has 78% on Rotten Tomatoes. And to say how bad this movie was, it was performing so poorly at the box office, they had to change the name of the movie. Like, I think that just says it all.
It's a fact.
Yeah.
And I'm still shocked. It has a 78% on Rotten Tomatoes, and it's battling with Captain Marvel, which has a 79%. Like, I think this movie, Captain Marvel is second on my list, and that's in that category. but I think this movie is just god awful. Remember the hyena as the dog? I think that just ends my like that'll be the last thing I say about this movie.
You remember the hyena as the dog? That's
Terrible
hilarious.
CGI. Like, what is that? What are we doing here?
Named after Bruce Wayne, right? It was named
Yeah.
after Bruce Wayne.
Yeah,
I mean, the best part. Did you like the best part of that movie? People are saying it's like literally the breakfast sandwich.
I was about to say
like an inanimate
they
object.
focused like 20 minutes on a breakfast sandwich that looked terrible. It didn't even look good.
Yeah.
Make it look decent.
Sorry to my boy Ewan McGregor.
Oof.
The only
Can't wait for Obi-Wan,
decent spot in that movie, but he was still cringy at times, like in the club. Oh, terrible. Nez, off to you. Third pick.
I'm gonna go with my DCEU movie here. I don't know which one I want to pick because there's two pretty bad ones.
Oh man,
Like I don't know. Do I go with? I don't want to tease anybody else's pick. I'm gonna go with another one. All right, I'm just gonna continue the what we had with Suicide Squad, and I'm gonna go with Batman vs Superman. I mean that movie was so hyped. I was so excited, and I was sitting there. I bought IMAX 3D tickets, which I don't buy 3D tickets for premieres anymore because I don't like to watch 3D movies anymore. I don't know. It just doesn't do it for me. But I did at the time. I was so excited about it. And I was walking out of that movie just like, Martha? What the hell? That's what did it. You're literally fighting each other to the death, and Save Martha is what did it. But here's what one positive I took out of that movie as a lifelong Batman fan. All right. Let me just take another pause, actually, because there is an internal civil war that goes on in my family, and it's Batman versus Superman. That is literally like there's a
like the
side
character fight.
There's a side that says Batman would win in a fight. There's a side that says Superman would win in a fight. I'm Team Batman, and this movie solved that because Batman kicked Superman's ass with his advanced technology. But theoretically, probably Superman would win because he has laser eyes. I mean, whatever. Anyways, but that was the only good thing that I walked out of that movie from. I was like, it looks like Batman could kick Superman's ass. It's been proven. But other than that, like they just tried to fit like a bunch of origin. It was like the beginning of the Justice League while also it being like Batman versus Superman while also doing like two origin stories at once. I mean, it was they tried to squeeze so much into a movie, and they thought that they can get away with cool effects and just having Batman and just having Superman and it would be a cop out for Lex Luthor's snot hanging out at the end. Like, no, nothing's gonna like make me more uncomfortable than that, and not in a way that like in a good movie. It just made me uncomfortable. Like, why am I looking at this right now? That movie sucked.
Yeah,
I don't care. I know that there's Zack Snyder fans out there that are obsessed with it. That movie sucks. Okay, terrible.
Ultimate Edition's better, but still the bad part about it's super long, and it does still trying to fit everything in, and it was trying to jumpstart an entire universe of movies within one movie. Yeah. And like people, I don't mind Ben Affleck in the role, but he kind of like that was in my mind. I thought that was gonna be a sequel to The Man of Steel, and then it ended up being more of a Batman movie. I think people were like off on that, and then people also didn't like the idea of Affleck playing him in the first place. But he ended up being one of the only good parts about it.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
And the fight scenes were kind of cool. I like the Batman versus Superman actual fight scene was cool. Lex Luthor kind of sucked though. He was brutal.
Yeah, Jamie, Lex Luthor's. You picture him like in the cartoons as big and buff, and not necessarily as corny and wacky, right? More of a businessman, with the Silicon Valley-ish, right?
Dude, he looked like
he
cried in like multiple scenes. Yeah.
That's good pick. Good pick. I can't really fault you, even though I personally like. I'll still watch it for the action scenes, but yeah, not a great movie. Your fourth though.
My fourth. Okay, so what am I missing? I'm missing pre-2008. I think I'm gonna save that one. I don't think anybody's taking my choice for this one. Oh man, this is a toss-up.
Wide open.
I want to do
Miscellaneous
for my miscellaneous. I gotta go with Ryan Reynolds and Green Lantern, right? Like that movie is just atrocious.
Fourth rounder. That's a great pick.
That movie sucks. That movie sucks so bad that Ryan Reynolds went back in another movie completely unrelated and killed a fictional version of himself that was excited about the script. Like that's how
Mhm.
bad that movie is. It's unwatchable. It's unrewatchable. It's comically bad, and it's one of the worst movies.
CGI is god
Yeah,
awful.
it's just
The villain in
painful.
that is god
It's
awful
painful
as
to
well.
watch. I bet you know in terrorist prison or something, and when they interrogate the terrorists, they just make them watch Green Lantern on repeat. That's what I would do.
Blake Lively looks great in that, though. I will say, another great actress, like good-looking actress.
Yeah, she did. Yeah, she looked great. For sure.
Mm, yeah,
Maybe
that's
not
a
the
tough
best
one.
performance, but still.
I'm just thinking
Interesting.
right now. Wow, that guy's head was so big. All right.
Yeah, he was like what's it called? You ever seen Sky High, where it's like the teacher, the professor was like
Yes.
the massive brain? That's what he
The
looked like.
superhero movie could be on. It could be on the list.
Oh yeah, teaser.
Teaser,
If you
teaser.
put Sky High on your worst movies list, I won't
No,
be friends with you.
I didn't. It's that bad. I didn't even think of it. But I'm gonna go.
What do you need?
I need miscellaneous and pre 2008.
Thank God.
I think I might. Dr. O, Dr. O, you took pre 2008 miscellaneous. So I'm actually going to save my pre 2008 and go with my miscellaneous. There's some good ones on the board here. But my least favorite out of all of these, unfortunately, is Fantastic Four with Josh Trank, 2015. I know the first one, the original with like, what was it? I forget when it was, but early 2000s might be on someone's list coming up. But I personally don't. I actually like that movie. I know it's kind of crazy to say, but I like that movie. And then the second one I think is watchable. I think just maybe with Chris Evans and Jessica Alba just commanding the screen, and they actually like seem to do well in their roles. But in this one, everybody was awful. Michael B. Jordan, awful in this movie. I love him, but awful. Miles Taylor, awful. Just there's no excuse to even anyone that even supports this movie, which I don't know a single soul that does. There's no excuse for it. Terrible. It's just everything about this movie is terrible.
He tried to add that like horror element to it, and it didn't really work. And then also the Fantastic Four, they were like 18 years old. Like they're just so young. It's just like it wasn't believable, especially when you had like the older Fantastic Four, like the two movies that in the mid 2000s that didn't do well. They did commercially well, but that's just like what was ingrained in our brains. And then we got that version, which is kind of have tried to be a little darker. Failed. Not good.
Yeah.
Did
Josh
not
Trank.
like.
I think that says it all. Look at Capone. Poopy.
Right. Yeah, literally. Pun intended.
But all right, Dr. O, goes to your last two picks.
Okay. So I got to go DCEU and then over 60. I think I'm just going to double dip into the DCEU. You guys took Suicide Squad. That's the one I had immediately on my list. Birds of Prey, also immediately on my list. I'm going to take for my DCEU pick, Justice League theatrical version.
Yeah, that's what I was going in between that or Batman vs Superman.
Yes.
It's like Justice League.
Yeah.
I enjoyed Batman vs Superman more than the Justice League movie. And the
Same with
Justice League movie, first of all, the Batman vs Superman. They set a tone for Batman and Superman and that whole universe. And we go to Justice League, and you basically have two different tones because you're mixing in Zack Snyder, and then at the back end you're going Joss Whedon. And then the way they portrayed Batman in that movie, I will never forgive. Where you had Ben Affleck staring at Superman, basically going goo goo gaga for him, basically like having his eyes like mouth wide open as he watches Superman do these incredible things, watching them become the best of friends when that's not how it is. Like they're supposed to be against each other a little bit. And then I just like they didn't portray Batman in the best way, in my opinion. There's a bunch of other problems too. The villain sucked. Steppenwolf. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Having a Justice League movie and your Steppenwolf is the villain? How many people knew who this villain was? Like
No,
how
He looked terrible. He looked terrible as well.
Flicks, you followed the comics semi closely, right? So do
I
you
had
even
no
know who
idea.
Steppenwolf was? No. Like that was a joke. And the CGI, pitiful. Like that movie was the biggest disappointment, arguably, like alongside Batman vs Superman, maybe in superhero history. Like you had an Avengers movie, you had two. You had Avengers 1, obviously, then you had Age of Ultron, then Justice League comes, craps the bed so hard. And they had the better heroes. It was hard to screw up this movie. And they still did. That was garbage. And like I don't know how I even got 40% of Rotten Tomatoes, just because like the tone's off too. Garbage. I hate that movie.
Yeah, that movie sucks.
Same thing what you were saying with Batman versus Superman, Nez. Just they rushed it. they try to incorporate like 3 origin movies in this one
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
Like really quickly, like
Like-
quick synopsis of this character before we jump into it with Steppenwolf.
It's like they screwed up with Batman versus Superman from trying to squeeze all of these plot lines into one movie. And they're like, oh, okay, this wasn't well received. How can I learn from this and move forward? All right, let's squeeze 3 origin stories into this and create a whole super team. Like, what?
Mm.
Like, it makes no sense. Well, they made the same mistake again after screwing up. They made the same mistake again. I don't understand.
We should just title this episode
CGI,
crap on
crappy CGI
DC.
mustache cover-ups.
Yeah.
CGI.
Oh my god,
What are they
that
doing?
that was so bad.
What
are
So
you
bad.
doing?
Like you think you're gonna like pretty boy Henry Cavill or burly boy Henry Cavill. You're gonna make his face look like that? Looks like he had plastic surgery. Looked like he had plastic surgery. It
Absolutely
was terrible looking. I can't believe he okayed this.
Yeah.
If I were Henry Cavill, I'd be like, don't show my face like that. It was literally the first scene of the movie with his
Yeah.
face, like saving the kid on the video camera. He's got a
Looked
hooked
terrible
face
on
and
the
he
big
got like a
screen.
hook coming out of his top lip. Disgusting.
Looked terrible on the big screen. Oof.
Okay.
Your last pick, Dr. O.
I got to go over 60. You guys took a lot of the good ones. I'm going to go with the theme of this one, Wonder Woman 1984. That's my last pick, over 60. There were, because a lot of the over 60s, it was tough because a lot of the over 60s are MCU movies. And then I also, I'm not going to, does anyone have to pick DC anymore? Are we all done with that?
Well, oh
Yeah,
yes, we're all done, even miscellaneous. So yes, you
Even
could,
over 60? Did someone do over 60?
yes, we all did.
Okay, so I was gonna say Aquaman. That was what it was between. That and Aquaman. The Aquaman I didn't love, but like it had that Star Wars type of look to it, and I wasn't gonna pick Wonder Woman 1984. I wasn't gonna pick Aquaman as a worse movie compared to that, especially from
Yeah.
what I just saw. Like it was just
Recency
in
bias.
my mind.
maybe
It
a
just
little
went
bit.
through bad movie, bad movie, bad movie, and I'm not gonna be able to get it out of my brain for a long time.
Yeah, I get that. I think it's for Rotten Tomatoes over 60. I think it's a good pick. Not many
gotta
of
make
them
sure
in the DCEU.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. So you got to specify also when we put on that graphic, like which one was your over 60 pick. Which one
Right.
was
Yeah,
this,
of
this,
course.
this.
Of course.
Right.
It's all about the graphic. No. All right. On to me. My last pick. I have pre 2008. I'm in a battle right now with myself. I know Dr. O took Batman and Robin, which this is tough. I'm gonna go one where it was one of the first movies I've seen in theaters. Hulk in 2003. I thought that was atrocious. Even
So
like
boring.
coming out of that movie, like Nick Nolte like scared me a little bit. Just it was a random character they threw in at the end when he was tied, his hands were tied behind his back. I was mesmerized by how bad it was, even at that young age. And moving forward, rewatching it, it's tough to even rewatch. And there's a couple other on the board I won't mention because I know Nez has a pick coming up. But comparing it to other Hulk movies or just other movies in the same genre, I thought it was just a travesty, even for 2003. So Hulk is my final pick. My pre-2008
that movie was so boring, and like it was like the same era. It was like 2003, so that's like same era as like Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, like right in the middle of that. And so those are so enjoyable for like everybody, whether you're a kid or you're an adult. Then you have Hulk come out. That movie wasn't even for kids. Like that had some very like scary scenes to it, and it just. I mean, I remember I was like, well, how old was I? 8 when that came out. I went to go see it in theaters, and I remember I kept asking my dad, "When is Hulk coming? When is Hulk coming?" And like literally,
took forever.
It took 50 minutes to an hour to like see Hulk. And finally, when he came in, I remember him just like destroying these poodles, like these like small dogs.
Terrible.
Yeah, so it's just like
coolest scene was him jumping in the desert, jumping miles.
Yeah, the movie also just didn't age well. The CGI looks terrible.
Awful.
He looks like Shrek. I mean, Shrek might look better.
It's a pretty good comparison. But Nez, your final pick. Round us out, Mr. Irrelevant.
All right, Mr. Irrelevant. Got to pick last pick of the draft. This is pre 2008. This came out just before 2008 in 2007. And before I even say this, can I just say, have they ever made a good Fantastic Four movie? Because Fantastic Four 2007 is crap.
Not
too.
yet.
Fantastic Four: Rise of Silver Surfer, bad CGI, terrible plot line, not really that entertaining. Like I remember seeing the first Fantastic Four that they came out with and thinking it was kind of cool. And by the time the next one came out, I was grown up a little bit more, and I was like, "Wow, this is crap. Why did I even like the first one?" Yeah, that's it. They I don't know what it is. They just can't make a good Fantastic Four movie, and that's okay with me.
I like that pick. Just like speaking of CGI, just seeing Mr. Fantastic in that movie, it like once again does not age well. Like it just looks so bad. It looks like you're stretching like some cheese stick or something. It just does not look good on screen.
Yeah,
100% agree. The
All
acting's
right,
pretty
I'll
brutal.
come to its defense a little bit. I did think it was kind of cool, like the Silver Surfer. I think because I haven't when I was at that age, I watched a lot of the cartoons with the Silver Surfer, and I thought it was a really cool character. So it was cool to see him on the big screen, even though the CGI wasn't that great. And also, I do agree with you though. On the other end, I really liked the first one, so the expectation of the sequel was really high, and with the Silver Surfer as well, and it just fell.
I
So,
wanted to be Johnny Storm though when I was little. Like I wanted to be Chris Evans.
of course,
Yeah.
Like he was like one of my favorite like movie characters as a kid, but also underrated. Like the way Doctor Doom, how he looked on screen was pretty cool in the first one. I thought they like it, like I collected Spider-Man comics as a kid, and then if you like just translated with the green hood and like it just and the metal on his face, I thought that part was cool. Overall, just not a good movie though, and it was like stretched to bring back Doctor Doom in the sequel too.
Yeah, Dr. O, any honorable mentions on your end?
Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance, which I
That
wish I had that
on
one.
my list.
That was
Yeah.
like maybe the worst movie I've ever seen in the theater.
Ghost Rider 2. Yeah,
Um,
terrible.
Dark
I couldn't
Phoenix.
take that one because it was pre 2008. Dark Phoenix, yeah, I never
Dark
finished
Phoenix
that
is
one.
an abomination. Just there's so many
Well,
X-Men. There's so many X-Men movies. Throw in the damn towel. That's what I was
X-Men-
saying when I was watching that movie. Just stop. Just stop.
It's better
This is
not to
so
release
bad.
it. And that's like
So
after
bad.
that's after like the Fox deal was done. It's kind of like they literally did throw in the towel because they didn't
The
go to
Apocalypse
Disney.
one too.
Stop
the
the fight.
Apocalypse one, terrible.
Like the
The
casting,
Apocalypse. Oscar Isaac. Oh, tough look.
But also, I wasn't a fan of the casting the younger guys as the older characters in Apocalypse. Like I was okay
Mhm.
with James McAvoy as Professor X, like in the
I like him
First
as
Class, Days of Future Past. I did like that, and I like Fassbender as Magneto. He's electric. Like I love like Fassbender's an amazing actor. But seeing like Ty Sheridan, we're bringing it back to him as Cyclops. Like, dude, you can't have that kid playing Cyclops. Sophie Turner, we love her in Game of Thrones, and she was okay. She's a pretty face, but I don't think she has the acting chops to carry the X-Men franchise, which she was supposed to do in the future. So, and then she obviously was supposed to do so in Dark Phoenix, but that was a stinker.
You know,
X-Men Origins, that was also at a. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I like that movie.
X-Men: The Last Stand gets a really bad rep. I enjoyed that movie and the Dark Phoenix plotline in that movie.
I did
The
too.
Dark Phoenix plotline in actual Dark Phoenix. But for
Right,
some reason,
Last
why
Stand.
does Last Stand get a bad rep? I don't understand.
The conclusion was kind of not what fans wanted to see. I think that what happened.
Cyclops died in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, and at the end with Magneto and just kind of flip flopping, and the whole point of the final scene was kind of just confusing. And
Juggernaut. I'm the Juggernaut, bitch.
Yeah, yo, I was running through my elementary and middle school screaming that and getting in trouble. Or like you playing Kill the
Worth it,
Carrier
worth
at
it.
Racers. I'm the Juggernaut, bitch. That was so much fun.
Dr. O.
And then,
oh wait, sorry. go
Well,
ahead.
I just want to say in Last Stand, I think it was a good scene. It was when Magneto, it's Magneto, Professor X, and Jean Grey in the house and everything. And she starts like going to the dark side, and everything's floating in the air. She ends up being like a fight. You remember that?
Oh, right.
Is it-
Yes.
is-
Yes. Yes.
That scene I think was pretty good. I don't mind the Last Stand. I'm not a hater on it.
Yeah. So with miscellaneous for me, Ghost Rider 2, Green Hornet, or the other two that
Oh, that'd been a good pick.
I was battling between those two, but I picked Fantastic Four. For movies pre 2008, I kind of regret my pick because there is 3 others that I really want. I was looking at The Punisher. I thought terrible.
Travolta as the villain.
Yeah,
Good video game though.
I've heard that. You played that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Zoom with Tim Allen, and Chevy Chase.
I saw that. I was never gonna put it down just because I watched it so much as a kid.
Tim Allen
It wasn't good.
as a superhero.
And having that tubby kid, I wonder what he's doing
Yeah,
now.
one of the villains.
His power is that he's fat. That was his
Yeah,
power.
yeah, and one of the villains' names was Concussion.
It's kind of a sick name.
Concussion.
CTE.
And then MCU. I do want to say Iron Man 3 I thought was terrible. I don't know why people think that's good. I don't know if you guys think the same way. I hate that movie.
It was on my list.
I think Guy Pearce sucks in that movie, and Ben Kingsley, who was playing one of the best MCU villains of all time, was a fake villain. I thought it was terrible, awful. But anything else?
I
Before
didn't
we
like
wrap
how
up?
he was never in the suit.
That too.
No, we covered it. Let's recap them.
All right, recap. Dr. O, Batman and Robin was pre-2008. Captain Marvel, MCU. Catwoman, miscellaneous. Justice League, 2017. And Wonder Woman, 1984, over 60%. Ricky Flicks, Thor: The Dark World, MCU. Suicide Squad, DCEU. Birds of Prey, over 60%. Fantastic Four, 2015. Miscellaneous. And then Hulk, 2003, pre-2008. And then Nez, Thor, MCU, Spider-Man 3, over 60%, Batman vs. Superman, DCEU, Green Lantern, miscellaneous, and Fantastic Four, Rise of the Silver Surfer, pre-2008.
Bada boom.
Wraps
All
up.
right. Well,
Fun
I
top
think
billing.
that concludes our episode. Yeah, that was a tough top billing. That was tough. A lot of very limited choices, but I think it ended up being a lot of fun. So, yeah, I enjoyed that. Any last comments before we go ahead and wrap this thing up?
I rescind my
Keep
wish.
following the blog. Subscribers keep going up every. What do you say?
I
You
rescind my wish
again, but not this wish.
I rescind my
Keep
wish.
subscribing. Tell your friends about the blog. Subscribe to the pod. We're banging these out every week. Timely. All right. Follow.
Guys, please leave us another review. Leave us another review. If you rate us 5 stars, we will give you another shout out in next week's podcast and read your review at the beginning of the next episode. And please follow us on all the social media platforms. That is at the Drive-In Pod on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. The Drive-In on Facebook and YouTube, and check out our blog on a daily basis on the driveinpod.com. Thank you very much for listening to us today, and we will smell you later.
Later.